Welcome to Slaying Excel Dragons video number 50. Hey, these are the videos that accompany the book, and we are in Chapter 8. And in Chapter 8, we're going to talk about conditional formatting. A bunch of amazing things you can do with conditional formatting. Let's go over to our Excel workbook, and we're in the workbook excelisfun Start. We're going to start on the sheet CF1. Of course, you can download this workbook by clicking on the link below the video or getting it from the DVD. Now, conditional formatting. That means we're going to apply some format based on some condition. And it all comes down to true and false. It all comes down to a logical formula. Now, there's two kinds. There's built-in conditional formatting, like highlight duplicates above average. And there are logical formulas that you can use to conditionally add formatting. But all of them, it's just true, false. The formatting gets applied if it's true. It doesn't get applied if it's false. Now, here's highlight duplicates. Each cell is going to be asked the question, am I a duplicate? False, no formatting. Am I a duplicate? True, so it gets the formatting, and so on. Here it's going to say, does this cell have a value above average? False, so no formatting. Is this above average? True, so formatting. True, so formatting. False. Now, that seems simple enough, but when you get to your complicated logical formulas and you're conditionally formatting a whole table, then breaking it down in simple terms like that really helps. All right, there's some examples. Let's go over to CF2, and we're going to start off by looking at built-in conditional formatting feature. Now, highlight duplicates, always with whatever range of values you're formatting conditionally, highlight and be aware of the active cell. That's the active cell. I'm going to go up to conditional formatting, and here are some of our built-in ones. Highlight cell rules. Greater than, there's a bunch of a date occurring, text contains, equal to, and there's our duplicate values. Duplicate right there. You can choose any color you want, but really custom down here gives you the full freedom. You don't have to use those built-in ones. And then you can say whatever color you want. Click OK. And you can see it's already highlighted, and click OK. So it immediately highlights duplicates. Now, above average, let's highlight the range, and there's a built-in feature for this. By the way, before 2007, conditional formatting did not have all these amazing built-in ones. We want top and bottom rules. So above average, you just click right here, above average, and pick whatever you want. I'm just going to take the default. Top 10 sales, highlight the range. And these are the top bottom rules. Top 10%, and you're not limited to top 10%. You can choose whatever percentage you want and change the formatting. Click OK. Icons. Icons. Let's go look at that. And here they are down here. Icons, they just break up the data into 3 sections, 4 sections, 5 sections. I'm going to select this one. It's just a way of saying, these are the highest values, these are the middle values, and these are the smallest values. I never use icons, never. Someone asked me the other day, what do the icons mean? And I'm like, that's a great question. What do they mean? But really good, or at the top, in the middle, on the bottom. Data bars. This is just an awesome feature, and in 2010 they even improved it. By the way, all of this came in 2007. Before 2007, you didn't have icons or these features here. Let's highlight this range. Data bars. Absolutely love them. Look at that. It looks like a histogram turned on its side with little bars. Now, in 2007, they had the solid ones. In 2010, they came out with these beautiful gradient ones. I'm going to select that. Just totally cool. Watch this. I'm going to type 1, and it changes. Absolutely awesome. Now, those are built-in features. The thing about built-in features is they are limited. Their logical formulas are as infinite as any other type of formula in Excel. So really, a lot of what you want to do, there's just not a built-in feature here. So let's go over to the sheet logical. And we've done a lot of logical formulas so far in this book. Here are some examples. In this one, I just said, hey, Is that number greater than that number? And I got a false, because 34 is not greater than 43. Greater than or equal to. Is this value less than? So is 500 less than 100? False. Is Joe equal to Joe? False. Is that equal to that? That's true. And is this one not? That's a symbol for not. And here's our reminder. We've already done a bunch of with comparative operators and logical formulas. This is just a little reminder, because really, if you know how to build logical formulas and you know how to use cell references like mixed cell references, then you can do any kind of conditional formatting you want. Let's go look at some examples. CF3. In this example, we want to highlight this column, but we want to base our true-false formula based on this column. So all I want to do is highlight the numbers that have a date in this column that are equal to 3/9/2010. Now, before we do a logical formula, it's kind of unusual the way we build our formulas when you do conditional formatting. So the way I like to do it is I like to build my formulas in the cells over here, as if I were going to put them right into the cells here, see how it works, and then put the formula into the dialog box. All right, so I've highlighted the whole range, and in the active cell, I'm going to build my formula. Is this cell right here equal to this cell? Now, when I copy this formula down, that's a relative, but that's an absolute. So, or actually, I'm going to hit F4 twice. The row reference is locked. So as I copy down across the rows, that Dancing Ants green box is locked on that row too. So that's why the $sign's in front of the 2. I'm going to populate all the cells with the formula. Control Enter. You can see we get a true. Oh yeah, because that cell is equal to that cell. True. That cell is equal to that cell. False. This cell. Oh, that's a true. Sorry. This one's a false. This one's not equal to that one. This one is equal. Now, when you do it this way, I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to put it in edit mode, and I'm going to copy this in edit mode. Now, this is important. This is the first cell in the range. Now, when you come over here, you have to highlight and make sure that the first cell in this range is highlighted when you select it. That leaves this the active cell, because the formula from this cell is going to be pasted into a dialog box, but it's going to be as if it's pasted into this cell and copied down. Now, you go up to Conditional Formatting and Manage Rules, or actually New Rule. Either one of the, New Rule is what we want. Now, I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut. I'm going to escape, and this is from an earlier version, Alt-OD. Alt-OD opens up this. You can select New Rule and then Use Formula to determine. This is the real power with conditional formatting if you know how to do logical formulas. Now I'm going to click down here. Active cell. Right here I'm going to Control V, and it's as if, even though this is in a dialog box, it's as if it's in this cell and gets copied down the column. I'm going to click this Format and select some formatting. Click OK. Click OK. Click OK. There's our rules. You can edit. Sometimes you mess up and you need to come back and edit. You can delete. I'm going to click OK. And just like that. And now watch this. We can change this, and our conditional formatting updates instantly. Now let's take this one step further. Let's go over to CF4. Same example here, but I don't want just the cell highlighted. I want the entire row highlighted. We're going to do our same trick. We're going to build our formula from the point of view from over here in the cells, and then copy that one and paste it into the dialog box. Now this one's a little bit tricky just because we're going to have to get a whole row to get trues. No problem. In the active cell, I'm going to type an equal sign, and I'm going to ask the question, is that date right there equal to this? Now, before we type our equal sign, we've got to think about what we want that cell reference to do. Right there, it's highlighted. But what happens when I go over to the next cell? I do not want the dancing ants to move. I don't want them to move over to here. I want it locked, so the whole row is looking at that date. So I'm going to hit the F4 key once, twice, 3 times. Lock the column reference. So I'm going to copy across the columns. It's locked. But we don't want it locked when we go down, because when we copy this formula down, we need the dancing ants to move to the next date, which is the row header for that particular row. All right, and then we ask the question, is that equal to that criteria input? F4 to lock it in both directions. I'm going to Control Enter, and there you have it. Now we have a true-false formula that will give us truths for the entire row. Now, why is this important? Because when we add our conditional formatting, it's as, and we're going to use our dialog box. We're going to paste that formula, but it's as if it's in that cell and gets copied over and down as if it were in these cells. All right, so if that's the active cell, we need to copy this formula right here. Control-C, Escape, highlight this whole range. Active cell, Alt-O-D, new rule. I'm going to click this one here. Format values where this formula is true dialog box or text box, Control-V. There it is. Format. I'm going to pick a fill and a font. Border. There's even number that came in 2007. I'm going to click OK. Click OK. Click OK, and just like that. And now if I change this to 2010, absolutely amazing. Now we're going to go over and take this one step further. CF5. All right, in our last example, we did an exact match. So if we look back over here on CF4, right, we just said, is this value equal to that? But on sheet CF5, we're going to have to ask the question, is this value equal to any of these? Well, we can't do an exact match. But what we can do is something tricky. Let's think about what Vlookup does. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say equals Vlookup. We did this function. We did like 10 examples of Vlookup. Now, for tax purposes, usually you have an input like this. So the lookup value will be this, comma, the table array. You usually highlight the whole table like this. The Vlookup will look up this value in the first column. So it's got 5,555 in its brain. It looks down the first column, which is sorted in a ascending order. When it bumps into the first bigger value, right there, that 10,000, it jumps back one row. And then it knows that's the row it wants. Comma, and then it knows this is the row, so it needs to get that 2%. So you have to type a column index 2. Comma, and then the approximate match is what we want because we have gaps between our numbers. But by default, that approximate match is the default. So I'm going to backspace, and that's all I need. Now look at what Vlookup does here. It returns 2%. But for this example, we're going to have to change the 2 to a 1. What is that going to do? It means it's going to look up 55,555 and return 5,000? What? That's exactly what we want. We want, for every single row, we're going to have this number, and we're going to say, is that number equal to the row header? And as we copy the formula down, the only row that will get a true is the 5,000 row. So I'm going to highlight the range just as we did before. And in the active cell, I'm going to build my logical formula. Equals Vlookup. I'm going to say the lookup value is this. Sorry, is this. This is the 55,000 we put into our brain. And now that needs to be locked in all directions. So I hit F4, comma. The table array, I am not highlighting both columns. I'm going to highlight just the first column. I do not need that second column. I'm going to hit F4 because that needs to be locked in all directions. Comma. Column index is 1. Close parentheses. Let's just see what this delivers to all the cells. I'm going to hold Control and tap Enter. 5,000. 5,000 for all of them. Yeah, but now we can do a formula that says, are any of these 5,000s equal to the row header? The only one that will get true is this one. So in the active cell, I'm going to hit F2 and edit this. Anytime that is equal to this. Now think about this. When I copy this direction, I want it locked. But when I copy down, when I copy it down, that A5 needs to move down to the next row header. So that A5 needs a $sign in front of the A. I'm going to hit F4 1, 2, 3 times, but not in front of the row reference. All right, you ready? Control Enter. And there it is, the only truths. Let's just change this. 2000. And now we have our two truths. By this time, we've done a few examples. You see that we're simulating what happens in memory here, because we put just this formula, and I'm going to copy this in edit mode, copy, escape. It's just that formula we put into the dialog box, but it is as if it is copying it through a range exactly this size, which if you look over here, that's the exact same range as this. That's why we always highlight it and make sure our active cell is in the top corner, and then Alt-O-D, New Rule, Formula, click right there, Control-V, and now I can format whatever color we want. Purple, font white. If it's purple, we've got to do a light font color. If the fill is dark, click OK, click OK, click OK. You got to be kidding me. That's just cool, right? 55,000 we type in, and immediately we get this visual cue that 2% is the number we want. All right, so that's approximate. Now, let's take this even a step further. By the way, in the homework, there's a great approximate row highlight problem that I gave you. All right, now there's, in this example here, I would like to put a product here. So I'm going to say product 2 and a year. Oh, look, they're all 2008. That's not what I want. I want 2008, 9, 10. Watch this. I'm going to do a little trick. I'm going to point to that fill handle, and I'm going to hold Control. And when I have my cursor over the fill handle, I'm going to click and drag. That tells it to increment. So I'm going to change this to 9. So here's what I want to do with conditional formatting here. Product 2, the whole row has to be highlighted. Product 9, the whole column has to be highlighted. And then also a third conditional formatting, the intersecting value. So watch this. What are we going to do? We're going to have to match a row header against that, a column, match this against a column header, and for the intersecting cell, we're going to have a two logical tests. Is this cell equal to, in this cell, is the row header equal to that? And still in the cell, is the column header equal to that? So we'll actually, our third logical test, we'll use an AND function, because we're going to have two that both need to equate to true. All right, now I'm going to build this one in the dialog box. I'm going to highlight the whole range and make sure the active cell is right there. Alt-O-D, New Rule, Use Formula. All right, now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to start with the row header. All right, so this is test number 1 to highlight the whole row. So I'm going to click on Product. Notice in the dialog box it puts an equal sign and $2 signs. And that's what I want, locked in all directions. Is that equal to the row header? Now, look at this dialog box. I'm building a formula here, but it's as if it's actually in that cell, and it will be copied over and down. So what do I want? Everything in this row has to be locked there. But when we copy it down, we need the dancey dance to move. So I'm going to lock the column reference. I'm going to hit F4 2 times. The C is locked, but not the 20. All right? And then I'm going to click Format. Yellow. Click OK. Click OK. We can look at it, right? Click OK. Oh, cool. So it's working. Now I'm going to go back up here and build a second form. The active cell still there. Alt-O-D. Whoops. Alt-O-D. Notice if you have a rule already, it just pops up and you can edit it. That's why I like that keyboard shortcut. I'm going to say New Rule, Use Formula, and right here. Now I'm going to think about the column header. So in this dialog box, I'm going to click on that one, locked in all directions, equal to, remember, active cell. Everything in this column is going to need to look there. So I'm going to click there. There's two $signs. I don't want that. When I copy it down across the rows, I want it locked. But if the formula is here, that means D19. When I copy this direction, I need those dancing ants to move. So I'm going to hit the F4 key one time, only the row reference, not the column reference locked. Click Format. I'm going to click red. And since red is a dark fill color, I'm going to select a light font color and click OK. Click OK. Click OK. Now, before we do our third conditional formatting, I want to add data validation. Now, back when we did Vlookup, the big Vlookup video, we did data validation, and we're going to do it here again. I want to limit what goes into the cell only to allow values from here. So in this cell, I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Alt-DL. Allow any value. I'm not going to let any value. I want list. So I typed in L and then tab. And now I'm going to highlight. Click OK. Now I'm going to click here, Alt-DL, tab, L, tab. And now for this cell, I only want to allow these values. Click OK. Now I have a drop down. Whew, that is so cool. That is just so cool. Now, one last conditional formatting. Highlight the whole range. Active cell up here, Alt-OD. There's a new rule. Notice they're piling up here. That's where you can use these little arrows if you want to move them up and down. New rule. I'm going to say new rule. Use formula. Click right here. Now, we're going to have, for each cell, there's going to be two tests. So I'm going to use equals and. The first test, well, it's the same two tests we just did. We just have to put both of them into an and. So I'm going to say, is the product, $signs locked in all direction, equal to this? F4, F4, column, reference locked, but not the row. Comma, year up here, is that equal to the column header? And I'm going to hit the F4 key. Well, let's think about it. When I copy down, I need it locked, but not to the side. So I'm going to lock it only in front of the row reference, but not the column reference. Close parentheses, and I'm going to add a format. Fill, well, if I used red and yellow mixed are orange, so I'm going to mix that and show an orange. Now, actually, we forgot one thing. Click OK. If I come over here, yeah, that white is not good. We need to actually add black to the orange. So it's the one on top. It'll get applied over the white underneath. Now I'm going to select 3, select 9. All right, so it's all working. But I want to go back and change that. And when you edit it, you need to highlight same range like this, Alt-OD, and I'm going to edit. There's edit, format. I'm going to come over to font and select black. Click OK. Click OK. The fact that it's on top, it'll get applied on top of all of these. If you wanted to move them, you could move them right there. Click OK. And now we have it. That is just more fun than playing video games. Doing data validation, logical formulas, conditional formatting to make magic like that happen in Excel. All right, one last bit of magic. CF6 is the sheet we're going to go to. And here we're going to look at formatting the row that is a weekend or a holiday. Now, we're going to have to look at a function that we haven't looked at before. Let's just start up here. And I want us to look at the net working days. Now, net working days tells us between two dates how many working days there are. But net working days only considers Saturday and Sunday to be the weekend. Great new function in 2010, international. And in fact, I'm just going to show you real quick. We're not going to use this one. I just want to get to this drop down. The weekend. In international, oh, you can choose any weekend you want. Just a huge, awesome improvement in functions that came out in 2010. All right, so I'm going to select net working days. Now, start date, comma, and the end date. And this is how the net working days function is usually used. There's a huge span of dates, and you need to count the actual working days. Holidays, there they are. So we have those. We have that as an input. So really, the only days that will be excluded between this start date and this end date are Saturday, Sunday, and whatever day that is. So there's 8. Now we're going to come down here, and we're going to use this in an unusual way. I'm going to highlight the whole range. Remember, we want the whole row highlighted. In the active cell, I'm going to say equals net working days. The start date and the end date are the same. Now, this is really weird. But what it's going to do is because the start and end date are the same, it can only give us either 1 if it's a working day or 0 if it is a holiday or weekend. Comma, and then the holidays. I'm going to highlight. Notice for that range, I went from the bottom up because the formula was hanging there. But I'm going to hit the F4 key to lock that. Now, we're not done here. That right there, since we want to highlight the whole row, this needs to be locked on the column reference. So I'm going to hit F4 3 times. And same with this one. Lock going this way, but not down. So locked, not locked. Now, when I Control Enter, whoa, this is going to give me a 0 and a 1. Well, those can easily be interpreted as true and false. But it is the 0 we're interested in. We're interested in this row, this row, this row. That is a holiday. That is a weekend. So what are we going to do? There's a bunch of things we could do here. Active cell, I'm going to hit F2. You could say whenever this is equal to 0. Beautiful. Now we got our trues for a row to highlight the weekends. I'm going to hit F2. You could also say not 1. You could also do the not function. Now, right now, these are 0s and 1s, which are trues and falses. So if I hit F2, there's a not function. That's the one that's in the book. I think I'm going to change this up a little bit here. I like equals 0. And then we have our trues and falses. Now, just as before, scoop the formula out in the topmost corner. Highlight with the active cell in the topmost corner. Alt-OD, new rule, formulas, and then Control-V. Notice that was a hard formula, so it certainly was nice to build it in the cells first, see how it works, and then just paste. I'm going to format it, whatever we have here, maybe like that. Click OK, and click OK. And just like that, we have our rows highlighted for weekends. Now, one thing about conditional formatting is you can it's copied. So when I copy a cell, it gets copied. Dates will automatically increment by 1. So these will be all merry. But we just show that the conditional formatting is copied also. If you copy a cell, Control-C, Control-V, it's copied also. All right, that's a lot about conditional formatting. Remember, it always comes down to true or false for a cell. True, the formatting is applied. False, the formatting is not applied. All right, we'll see you next video.